Welcome, everybody, to the Eden Army podcast. I'm your host tonight, Pete Robertucci. Got a good show tonight. A lot of news this week. Been trying to balance that between writing books every morning and keeping up with the current events, right? Kind of tough. But thanks, EA1 and Fireman Ed, for resubscribing over there on kick.com. We certainly appreciate that. Tonight, we're going to be talking about a few things. We're going to be talking about how Mr. Trump had a little bit of conversation with the South African president and how all that panned out, right? Of course, leftist terrorist attacks two Israeli diplomats in Washington, D.C. Just like I said, summer of hate, it's coming. And who do I blame for that? I'm going to tell you who I blame, because I'm not going to pull any punches, right? Because you guys don't like when I pull punches, so I'm not going to. We're going to talk about Trump's big, beautiful bill. Do I like it? Do I not like it? What changes can be made? You tell me what you like and don't like about it. And what do you think of the orcs that decided they did? I don't even call them rhino anymore. Lundy over there on Facebook calls them orcs. I like that better. We're going to talk about the Trump's big, beautiful bill. Oh, wow. Biden has stage 4 prostate cancer. We're going to talk about that. Who knew? Who knew? Because it was just released. So who knew prior to this just being released? And why was it released this week? We'll find out about that. And of course, we're going to talk about our prep of the week, because I told you guys we were going to do a prep of the week now. So hopefully you've got something done. I'm going to show you what I got done. Russ didn't get too much done because he's traveling up to the North Woods, right? The North 40. So he didn't get too much done. But so his preps were basically getting his ass up here. But first, look, I need a little pick-me-up. I'm a little down today, so I need a pick-me-up, and we haven't done this in a while. So, Russ, we're going to get the news right after this video. You fucker! You laughed, you mocked, you shut us down. Called us names, tried to run us out. You pushed too hard, took too much. Now you're the ones who've lost their touch. You rigged the game, you changed the rules. Gaslit the world, played us for fools. But tides have turned, the storm is near. Cry all you want, we're still here. Faithful, fuck around and find out. You tried to rule, but your time ran out. Faithful, the silent will stay quiet now. We're taking back what you burned to the ground. Censorship, lockdowns, all your control. Built your throne on a house of gold. Now you panic, now you cry. Tears don't work, truth don't lie. The games are done, the mask fell off. No more lies, we've had enough. You played with fire, now taste the flame. This time, we're naming names. friggin' standing. Now I'm ready to go. Now I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's bring Russ in.
Oh, that is exactly what I needed, brother. Exactly what I needed.
What's going on, Russ? Tell me about your trip so far. How's it been?
It hadn't been too bad. We I think we skirted a tornado in Kentucky, Tennessee area. We had some severe rain, 15 miles an hour, sheets of rain, and we finally were able to make it to an exit and pulled over. No damage at all, luckily. We've been just cruising along. We have another 230 miles left ish.
That's
And
all you can ask for. You'll get here tomorrow around 2:30, and we'll get you all squared away. Melissa got me a different drink, and I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if I feel it right now. I don't know if I like it. This stuff here.
never been a fan. Never been a fan of Angel's Envy.
I'm working on it. I don't know.
I'm finishing up the last of the bottle of what was it, Bardstown, that I got while I was up in Mountain Readiness, courtesy of Mr. Tom Bryce.
Yep, Tom Bryce, nice guy. I had a pretty good week. I caught my first northern pike and my first walleye, thanks to my buddy Chris Shufflebaum. Took him out on he took me out on Lake Chetek, and man, we slayed him. So he said it's not normally like that, right? And I told him, well, that's just because I'm here and I know how to slay friggin' fish. You people up north don't know how to slay fish.
You know?
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. But good. I'm glad you'll be here tomorrow. Guys, don't forget over there in chat. I don't have a chance to look at it right now, but we are going to talk about your preps of the week. So hopefully you've got something done. I don't care if it's a can of corn that you're hiding underneath your bed. Hopefully something's done. We always need to progress. We always need to make things happen. Why? Because I'm telling you right now, the summer of hate is coming. The leftists are losing their mind. So now's not the time to slack off. You got to stay prepared, right? That's what we do. So, boy, there is some news this week, Russ. I was trying to keep up with it, but
driving all day, every day, and by the time I'm done, I have the last thing I want to do is look at social media.
I know. You got to get in them podcasts, man. You got to get in them podcasts and then listen to stuff happening. Joe Dolio's, NC Scout.
He's in a ditch.
What's that?
If I'm not listening to music, I'm asleep. So I got to just sit there and listen to music, listen to classic rock or whatever. But I was able to catch up a little bit based off of the stuff that you want to talk about tonight. You do have some interesting stuff.
Well, it's been interesting. Trump was allowing some of these South African immigrants to come in because why? The South African farmers they're brutally beaten, they're being murdered, and of course the Democrats immediately start saying, "Oh, you're just allowing them in because they're white." They've always got to play the race card, right? First of all, I don't want to hear about genocide from leftists that don't even believe the Holocaust existed, right? They just deny it. So don't tell me about genocide. We've seen it in our lifetime, and what's happening in South Africa right now is a genocide, and we're going to talk about that. But what Trump did when the Dems are yapping their little trap, the little psychopaths are yapping over there in the corner and crying and chanting and singing, what he did is he told the president of South Africa, he says, "Come on, I want to talk to you. Come to the White House." And they had a pretty good exchange. I don't know if you saw it or not, but we're going to
pieces of it.
Perfect. So we're going to run, and this is it's a little bit of a long clip, guys, but I want you to concentrate on this guy's face, the South African president's face when Trump is telling him what's going on in this damn country and basically pulling no punches. I'll run that.
We have thousands of stories talking about it, and we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that is Natalie here? Somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things, and it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would, and turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you, Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no.
Now, on purpose, I picked this clip. They were showing the actual video. It's a they're in a big stadium, 100,000 people, and there's one of the parliamentary guys up there speaking. But I want to focus on the South African
Permission
president. That's why
from
I
you,
kept it in this.
from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South African occupy land. That's who we are. Whatever we want to do, we can withdraw my membership from this useless parliament.
Honorable. Yes, honorable member.
Must never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act. Shoot to kill the mother, kill the poor, the farmer, kill the poor, the farmer. Pa, 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 to kill the mother, kill the poor, the farmer.
The mayor of D-Day in PE is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you have touched a white man. Not because Mashaba and Suni will not be touched. They will be touched, don't worry. But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness.
Shoot to kill the mother, kill the brewer, the farmer, kill the brewer, the farmer. Pa, pa, pa. Shoot to kill the mother, kill the brewer, the farmer, kill the brewer, the farmer.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, was not called for the killing of white people, at least for now.
It's not calling for the killing of white people, at least not for now. And that's the president speaking, by the way.
You'd understand somebody watching that, especially as it gets shared on Twitter. They freak out. It sounds like a genocidal.
That is the look of a person that has gotten caught.
He's gotten caught. He's gotten ambushed, and and all he wants to do is speak to Trump by himself without cameras there. So he can't. It's crazy. It's only a couple minutes left, guys. Or a minute or so left. We'll run it.
Who will expropriate land without compensation, whether they like it or not. If they object, they can seek refugee in America.
Now this is very bad. These are burial sites right here. Burial.
So Trump misspoke there, and this is what the liberal media wants to focus on, that he misspoke. What he's showing on video right now are 1,000 crosses as a memorial for the white farmers that were killed and the family going to visit those memorial sites. He misspoke. He said these are burial sites. They're not. They're memorial sites. Doesn't lessen the effect, all right? White farmers are being murdered and slaughtered there. And our liberal media is not. They're not coming clean with it. Imagine that. Imagine them not coming clean with it.
Well, and part of this whole thing that you didn't show, but I'm sure everybody saw, was NBC one of the pressers in NBC tried to change the subject,
Yeah, they
And
wanted to talk about the Qataran Air Force jet, the Air Force One. They wanted to change it, and Trump
and
shut
Trump
their ass down.
is down.
Yeah.
Shut them hard. I mean, shut them down hard.
All
And
right,
then
half of go ahead.
press,
Yep.
the press secretary did it again today.
Yeah, she did, and she did because they wanted to talk about how he misspoke. He said burial sites. It was a memorial site. It doesn't matter. 30 more seconds.
Over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross, and there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving, they're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who was killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it. Both sides of the road, you have crosses.
So there you go. And liberal media, all they want to focus on is you're allowing white immigrants and you're look, he's allowing them in. This is a genocide that's happening. These people they need to flee their land or else they're going to be killed. It's not even their land anymore. It's been taken over. And I did some research on the Nelson Mandela thing. And anyway, I'm not going to go into that on these platforms right now.
Yeah, but in the difference between these white farmers and folks from South Africa that are coming in, and the how many million came in during the Biden administration is these guys are doing it legally. They are requesting to come in.
100%. And not only that, they're going to come here to work. They're going to come here to do the right thing. And here's the deal. Here's the irony of the situation. Because when Trump starts to deport all the Mexicans and all the South Americans, what do the liberals say? Who's going to pick our apples? Who's going to farm our land now? You guys are going to be sorry. Well, now he brings in seasoned farmers that love doing it, that love going to work every day, and they don't want to backtrack on that statement at all, right, Russ?
Oh, I'm not. Of course not. I mean, that would mean they're wrong. But wait, we knew this already.
Exactly. Let me look at chat here real quick and see what everyone has to
Chat's
say.
blowing up over there.
I know. Let me talk about Mama Teresa. This is what they say was unfounded because of the grave site, right? He misspoke and said grave site. He should have said memorial, but absolutely, and that's what they focus on, right? That's what they're focusing on. Rev made it back. Good to see you. Javi's in the house. Good. The kick is blowing up right now. There's a ton of people over there,
and there's a bunch of people over on Facebook and YouTube as well.
They're just not yakking it up.
Yeah, Julie Dorn's over there on Facebook. Jay's over on YouTube. Who else did I see over there?
Sander.
Yeah,
he's on one of them.
Sandra's over there on YouTube. Let's see who else. Amy Jennings over there on Facebook.
Okay, let's pop this up because we're going to go to our next segment here, and we're going to talk about the House, Russ. We're going to talk about the House narrowly by one vote passing Trump's big, beautiful bill. First of all, before we get into the particulars on the bill, there are certain aspects of that bill I do not like. I don't like that we're raising the debt ceiling another $3 trillion. I don't like that. I don't like that we did not reduce spending as much as maybe we should have. But what I do like, and one of the most important things, if only this bill would pass for one reason, it would be for the tax cuts that he had implemented before, which would have expired had this bill not gone through. And they're still gonna. It's got to get through Senate, right? But each one of us right now, if this bill doesn't go through, regardless if we like it or not, if we're a rhino, an orc or not, we would face a 64% tax increase if this bill doesn't go through. So let me pop this up real quick and go through some of the particulars of this bill. Here we go. Grok.
You guys will be able to see it.
Yeah, if not, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Campaign promises right off the bat, right? He says no tax on tips, no tax on overtime pay, no tax on Social Security benefits. It says no tax, but it actually provides an additional $4,000 deduction for seniors 65 to offset taxes on Social Security. So that's the way they could kind of go around it, right? Car loan interest deduction. If you buy a new vehicle manufactured in the United States, the interest is tax exempt. Child care credit increases from $2,000 to $2,500. But this is what they don't like. But it restricts those. You have to have a Social Security number. Oh, imagine that. Our tax dollars going to future taxpayers? Okay, I can deal with that. You don't have a Social Security number, though. Guess what? You don't get that deduction. Oh, they hate that.
Yeah, unless you got one of those fraudulent ones that everybody seems to be able to get.
Temporarily increases the standard deduction through 2028, which is nice. State and local tax deduction proposals under this consideration include raising the SALT deduction cap from $10,000 to $40,000 for individuals earning less than $500,000. And then this was added to appease some of the work Republicans that were going against the bill to begin with. Medicare reform. Oh, they're going to cut Medicare, Russ. They're going to cut it. They're going to butcher it. No, they're not. What they're
streamlined.
Well, they're gonna cut the fraud, waste, and abuse. Right?
Yeah.
We've heard that. That's the tagline of the Republicans now. They're going to go through and say, look, you are not eligible for Medicaid. I'm sorry. SNAP contributions. Go ahead.
Well, and both with Medicaid and with SNAP, I believe, they have to show proof of being able to work, doing the work. Because, that's part of the deal.
Yeah. You have to be part of the productive member. You have to be a productive member of society, right? And then the government will help you. If you weigh 700 pounds and you're sitting on your couch eating bonbons, watching the Eden Army podcast, guess what? You're not getting it. That's it. Get your ass to work. So that's the difference there. Clean energy tax credit rollbacks, basically saying, listen, you're not going to get a tax credit if you buy a Tesla or anything like that anymore, or even with the solar energy panels and stuff like that. What else? Increased spending. Defense spending is going to go up. Border security, huge increase in border security. Their budget and a reimbursement for states. I don't know, additional funds to reimburse states for immigration enforcement efforts. Okay, so here you go. So these states that are saying, look, we're not going to have our local law enforcement do ICE. We're not going to have them doing any ICE work. Okay, well, now if you do that, guess what? The federal government's going to pay you, and it's going to save us money in the long run, because you're not going to have somebody that's been illegal for 20 years collecting all of these above reference benefits.
And just backtracking on the SNAP real quick, he pushed a lot of that funding back down to the state.
Yeah, give it to the states. This is what our government, this is the way our constitutional republic was formed, so the states can handle their business. Federal government has very small amount of power based under the constitutional, the original constitution. So what were the energy policy changes? Fossil fuel support, streamlines permitting for gas and oil, and opens up new leases, trying to make us energy independent like we were in the past, and then the repeal of green energy incentives, which people were taking advantage of, and not just people, but some of these special interest groups were taking advantage of. Some of the groups that did the USAIDs of the world, right, that were just basically raping that, getting $500 million. 400 million of that was going to overhead, and 1 million or 100 million was going to something else. This is the $4 trillion debt increase that I do not like. But what they're going to end up saying is, oh, we don't want to default on our bills. Well, you know what you're spending. If I'm low at the end of the month, guess what? I know I can't go buy this or that. I got to cut back. That's what a fiscally responsible person does. Let's see. Tariffs are saying that the tariffs should offset some of these costs. We'll see. I don't know about that yet. Other provisions are funding veterans, increasing funding for veterans health care to 1 point. Well, and they need to go ahead and overhaul the VA while they're doing it. And maybe they'll be able to go to outside sources, hopefully. Elimination of DEI and critical race theory programs. They're going to cut that out of the budget. Good. That's going to save hundreds of billions of dollars. And explicitly protect Social Security benefits from cuts, aligning with Trump's campaign pledge. We're not going to cut Social Security. What they're going to do is, if you're collecting Social Security for your grandmother who's been dead for 20 years, you're not going to get that money anymore. That's what they're worried about.
Exactly. I mean, they shouldn't be getting the money anyway. If the person's dead, guess what? They don't get the money no more. It's that simple.
Yeah, 100%. This is the bill was passed by one vote, like I had said, with opposition from Warren Davidson, Thomas Massey, Andy Harris voting present. And it faces significant challenges in the Senate, where Republicans hold a slim majority. And in some senators, Ron Johnson from Wisconsin have criticized. And of course, Paul also says that he's not very happy with this bill either. But this is what happens. You got to get it through the House. They're going to make tweaks in the Senate. They're going to try to make everybody happy. Russ, you got a hell of a light coming over your left shoulder. And then that's it. That's it. Good to go.
Where is that light?
It's coming from the sun back there. There you go. Beautiful. So let's see what Chad has to say about the budget here. Imogen is funny to watch. I don't want to accept it. Let me try this. Let me see what this looks like here. Boom. Let's go here. Do it this way.
We'll put Mara up there for a while.
Yeah, I need no tax on OT. Mike says, yeah, by the end of the week. He says, get it done by the end of the week. Larry Dial, who went through Troy's Gate, Eden Army #1, says, I've looked at your, and I have some input for you on that, Larry, on your Troy's Gate video. The Hearing Protection Act passed in the House. I'm assuming you're talking about the suppressor.
Yeah, that's what, and I responded to that because I had actually looked that up on Grok right before we get him on, and it said that he got rid of the $200 fee, but all the regulations and everything were still in effect. But they're saying that it passed the House.
Well, but I think the bill as it stood was just to get rid of the fee. I don't know that it was. They're still going to do the registration. I don't know, but we'll find out, because I'm sure somebody would be wanting me to buy a new suppressor.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Well, Kelly says he heard the same thing.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, let me make sure I hit all the pinned ones. Yep, got those. Boom. Good to go. Excellent. So that's it. That's the big, beautiful bill in a nutshell. Nothing major there. It's still got to get through Senate. We'll see what happens. I'm not. Now they'll fight about it. Someone will capitulate. They'll get their butterfly farm in California somewhere, and then they'll be happy with the bill. That's the way politics works, right?
Absolutely.
What else happened in the news? Oh, where do I have one of those? Oh, yeah. Joe Biden diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer, which metastasized into his bones, right? Which is bad. That means very advanced.
Which is a simple blood test that is recommended for most men over the age of 50, and it's a simple blood test.
So, and that's where the question lies, because every medical expert on the news said there was no way the White House medical director or staff didn't know about this during his presidency. So, Republican lawmakers are calling for an investigation because they want to know who the hell was running the country then, because they knew he had dementia, they knew he had a cognitive decline. Now they're saying the hormone therapy from the prostate cancer increased his mental, or decreased his mental capacity. That's part of the side effects. So who was running that auto pen, Russ? Who was running the auto pen? Was it his cronies in his administration, or Fox News went ahead and said that? Go ahead.
you blew me away with this because I again hadn't watched a lot of social media, and I asked you what the over under was if it was Jill running the auto pen, and you dropped this one on me just before we got on, and it blew me away.
Yeah, Fox News is reporting that from inside sources, anonymous sources, if we can trust those, that Hunter Biden, although he wasn't running the auto pen, he was heavily vested in the day-to-day decision-making process in the White House. So now you've got a coke addict, wife-beaten guy who cheats on his wife,
Child molester.
running the White House, allegedly child molester too. So who was running it? Do we need an investigation, guys? Is it going to really even matter if there's an investigation? What does chat say?
Well, Corey is over there saying there are reports of pardons for bribes.
I heard that.
And, when you ran the FAFO video earlier, one person on that video stood out because we haven't heard a single peep from this person in 2-3 months at least. Nancy Pelosi.
Did you see? I don't even have this on the agenda. Did you see when she got up to talk last night about the big beautiful bill? Did you see any video? Did anybody see any video of that? She looked every bit as bad as Joe Biden did on his worst day.
Oh, wow.
And I'm not shitting you. She looked, I don't know if she was drunk, if she has dementia, if her Ambien was kicking in. I have no clue, but it was a shit show listening to her speak.
Oh, wow.
I agree. I agree with you, Battle Gnome. They are spineless. And as much crap as we put up with for the last 8 years, what I say to these GOP lawmakers is I say when these leftist extremist psychopaths are taking their final breath, that's when you squeeze their neck. It's time. It's time to grow a spine and remember what they did to us for the last 8 years. They called us everything but pure-blooded Americans.
Well, and what they're doing right now is they're swatting at the low-hanging fruit. The judges, that one congresswoman in the red dress that was, assaulting officers, low-hanging fruit.
Mm-hmm.
They need to get a ladder, get a little higher up in the tree.
Well, did you see the Kash Patel and Bongio interview? Amazing. And what they basically said is the question was asked, when are we going to see some high-profile people be investigated? And he says, we need to make a rock-solid case, which is what we're trying to do. But there are supposedly heads going to roll. And we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'll believe it when I see it. But remember, like I said last week, Trump didn't release the JFK files his last term because there were still people there that it would affect. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think he's doing the same thing now. You think he's
going to wait until after the midterms?
I think he would, or he's going to do it just before the midterms.
Or just before, which would.
But you better have rock solid evidence, because if not, that's gonna make the left get together even more, because they're gonna say, oh, he's abusing his power. He's going after his political enemies, right? Yeah. We'll see. Let's see, we're here. Patrick Sevens, get the axe, cut the tree down, start building. That little thing they used to put in the square in Main Street with the ropes on it. That's what I say too.
Absolutely.
I talked about this Epstein list last week, Corey, and I don't think it's going to be released. I don't think that. I think there are Republican lawmakers that are implicated in that Epstein list. I don't think it's going to be released. I think he's going to hide it, and they'll have to pay for that because that was a campaign promise.
Yeah. Well, and I did see something this week. They're saying that Clinton was like number one on the list.
Who knows? Who knows? There's probably people on that list, and we have no idea. And I'm talking from both sides of the aisle.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I don't disagree with that a bit.
Well, Melissa wants to know if Battle Gnome's worried about that list coming out. Like if he might have been a pivot man on one of them planes. I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know, Miss Melissa.
Stature. So.
Okay, so let's stay domestic before we go into international news. In Washington D.C. last night, about 9 o'clock, a gentleman by the name of Elias Rodriguez, a 31-year-old Chicago citizen, has been charged with the murder of two Israeli embassy staffers. The staffers, Lachinsky, 30, and Sarah Lynn Lachinsky actually is an Israeli citizen. His soon-to-be wife, Sarah Milgram, 26 years old, was gunned down outside of Capitol Jewish Museum. The attack, which occurred, like I said, around 9 p.m., is being investigated as a possible hate crime. Do you think it could be a possible hate crime? How about a possible hate crime and terrorism, right? Rodriguez allegedly shot the couple, shot them originally, walked up and shot them some more, Russ, by the way. So it wasn't an act of, it was an execution, right? As they were leaving the event, this guy shot him, and he said he did it for Palestine and chanted "Free Palestine" during his arrest. He's charged currently with first-degree murder and related firearm offenses. Rodriguez is currently in custody, awaiting a preliminary hearing on June 18th. The FBI has examined a manifesto to Rodriguez titled "Escalate for Gaza, Bring the War Home." Remember what I was telling you? Summer of hate, right? And who do we blame for this? I'm going to tell you who I blame for it after I get done reading this article. He posted that article on X. He's and was searching. They're currently searching his Chicago residence. U.S. and Israeli officials, including President Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu, condemned the shooting as anti-Semitic. The investigation continues with no additional suspects reported. And I actually have a clip for that. I'll pop it.
All right.
Two staff members of Israel's embassy in Washington were shot and killed outside the Capitol Jewish Museum late Wednesday.
First of all, this lady's very low energy. She's very low energy.
Night.
She's hard
the
to listen
suspect
to.
has been taken into custody and has been identified as Elias Rodriguez of Chicago. NBC's Alice Barr has more.
This morning, a tragedy for the Jewish community and the country, striking in the heart of the nation's capital, where two Israeli embassy staff members were shot and killed overnight while leaving an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum.
The suspect chanted, "Free, free Palestine," while in custody.
The suspect, 30-year-old Elias Rodriguez, remains in custody as investigators look deeper into the motive.
Prior to the shooting, the suspect was observed pacing back and forth outside of the museum. He approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun, and opened fire.
Police say he then went into the museum, was arrested, and pointed out where he left the gun. Israel's ambassador to the U.S. spoke about the victims, a young couple, Sarah Milgram and Yaron Lashinsky.
The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem. They were a beautiful couple.
President Trump posting these horrible D.C. killings based obviously on anti-Semitism must end now. Hatred and radicalism have no place in the USA. The U.S. Attorney General promising justice.
We'll be doing everything in our power to keep all citizens safe, especially tonight our Jewish community.
As the ambassador rallied against hate and fear.
We're going to overcome moral depravity of people who think that they're going to achieve political gains through murder.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu condemned the killings and said he'd ordered Israeli missions around the world to increase security. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
So there you go. Our hearts and prayers go out to the families of those two people that were slain by a domestic terrorist. I do believe he was a citizen of Chicago, but and I want to get back because I forgot to talk about why I think it's important that now all of a sudden Joe Biden's prostate cancer made the news. But before I do that, I want to talk about who do we blame for this. Of course, you can blame militant Islam, right? Of course you can, but it goes further than that. The blood is on the hands of legacy media for these two Israeli people, for the American citizen and the Israeli embassy worker. It's on legacy media's hands, because what do? They constantly talk about how the people in Gaza are facing a genocide. No, the people in Gaza and their elected officials attacked a sovereign nation and murdered thousands of people, right? And still have hostages hiding in tunnels. So, legacy media, get your shit right, because you're the reason these two people are dead. And who else? Who else is to blame? Every Ivy League college that allows this chanting from the river to the sea, right? All of these, because you can say Palestine free from the river to the sea. The only thing that means is the extermination of Israel. That's the only thing that means. They're openly calling for an intifada, bringing war to the infidels, right? They're openly calling for that. Even as soon as today, one of the university presidents during a graduation says they respect free speech and they want the release of Mahoud, whatever the hell his name is, that was deported or that faces deportation for staging these type of protests on college campuses, right? Yep. They're going to take away his student visa and get his ass out of here. Ivy League schools, you're to blame for this. Legacy media, and I'm calling you out, CNN, MSNBC, NBC, ABC, the whole gambit, you're to blame for the death of these two people. Period, end. Nobody else. That's just the way it is. So that's my opinion on it. Rev says you're damn right. I agree.
Well, and you know, it's funny. I did a Grok search for who is Elias Rodriguez, and he has been linked to two socialist groups. He works for an NGO called the Historian something or another, part of Resistance, as well as I think Awaken or something like that. And part of Resistance and Awaken have both come out with statements saying, no, he ain't with us. Yeah, that's what they're. No, he ain't with us.
Yeah, of course they want to distance. They want to distance themselves, just like the militia groups wanted to distance themselves after January 6th. I get it, but that doesn't resolve the fact that no, you're responsible. He was one of your members. Mama Teresa, yeah, they lost their approval to take international visa students, all because they wouldn't tell the federal government who the troublemakers were, basically, in layman's terms. So they lost, and 24%. Let me make sure I get this right. 24% of their freshmen hold international visas, student visas, and 64% of their students, I think I'm getting that right, are international foreign students. So they're getting ready to lose a big chunk of money.
Well, Pete, I think you're moving up in the world a little bit. I think we have a couple of spammers in the Kick Chat.
I love them. Just bump them.
Yeah, I don't recognize them.
Let's see what
Psycho MC says they're talking shit about you here and going to a Discord thing.
Yeah, don't care. Blocked.
Yeah, ban. And there was another one up here too. Ariglod.
Never heard of her.
Or it. And bye-bye. So you're moving up in the world, brother. Awesome.
That's the way it works. Look, I get emails all the time talking about how I'm wrong with the Palestinian thing. And look, prove me wrong. You can't do it. Israel right now would not be in Gaza if the October attack never happened. They wouldn't be there. Okay. So I don't want to hear it. I know more about the history of the Palestinian people and the Israeli people than you knuckleheads over there in Discord will ever learn about. I got friends over there killing the people that you're a sympathizer for, and I'm happy for that. So bite me. What else we got here? Yeah, got rid of them, Patrick. Thank you. What else? Oh, I want to go back to I actually had a clip of the reason this Biden story came out. Now, somebody mentioned it had to do something with that pro-life clinic bombing. I think what it had to do more was her audio leak. I'm going to pump that up real quick.
The audio of Joe Biden talking with special counsel Robert Hur has just dropped, and it was obtained by Axios. And the 2-day interview, remember, happened in October of 2023. And after that, her described Biden as a well-meaning elderly man with a poor memory. I said at the beginning of the show that was a very, very charitable way to describe how Biden came off now that we've heard this key part of the audio. Here he struggles to remember when his son Beau died. Watch.
We were living in Chambers Road, and there were documents related to the Penn Biden Center or the Biden or the cancer failure shot or your book. Where did you keep papers that related to those things that you were actively working on?
Well, I don't know. This is what, 2017, 18, that area?
Yes, sir.
Remember, in this time frame, my son is either been deployed or is dying. And so it was, and by the way, there were still a lot of people at the time when I got out of the Senate that were encouraging me to run in this period, except the president. I'm not a mean thing to say. I mean, he just thought that she had a better shot of winning.
And that right there, that's just a tip of the iceberg on how much rambling went on during that investigation. That's just a tip of the iceberg. He couldn't remember what years he was vice president, what years he was president. It was just a complete shit show. So, yeah, I agree. I wish they would release the whole thing. Just part of it was leaked to Axios. I wish more of it would be released. What else do we have here? DC shooting. Let's take a break here, Russ, and I'm working here in the week. So look, catch me at the Red Rock, and I'm still at 10 o'clock at night on a Tuesday. I'm still more coherent than that
Absolutely.
jarhead. Russ, tell us about. Let me see if I can't pull this up real quick. Tell us about this, will you?
Well, guys, Jeeping in the Hollers is a fundraising event that Steph Johnson with Rebuilding Hollers is putting on May 31st. If you're in and around the area, I highly recommend showing up. They've got some really cool t-shirt designs. If you follow Jeeping to the Hollers on Facebook, they have a couple of shows there. Shirts to show. I know Kelly and Meta are thinking of going over. They mentioned that last week. But even bigger news, Steph Johnson will be starting a podcast. It will be starting January 6th, which is a Friday night. So if you don't have anything to do on Friday nights, you can then join Rebuilding the Hollers come hell or high waters. And it'll be Friday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Very good. So guys, you know Steph Johnson. She's part of the tribe, and she really she was a real estate girl prior to what happened in North Carolina and the disaster they faced. And she basically got uprooted and took this on for the most part by herself, and is doing some really good work for people that the last administration forgot about.
Well, and they still haven't gotten any federal help. And my lovely bride has corrected me, saying it is June 6th, not January 6th. I'm a little tired, folks.
We get it.
But yeah, it's going to be a good time. She started this with stuff she had in her cupboard out of her own preps. Mm-hmm. And they have done amazing things. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming out that she's going to be involved with as well.
Yeah, she's doing God's work over there, and she's doing it without the help of the federal government. So I love that gal. I wish her the best, and I'm definitely going to be tuning into her podcast on Friday night. And maybe we'll get her. Maybe we'll get her on just prior to the kickoff. That way we can remind everybody of what her podcast is going to be all about.
T mentioned something on Monday. CanCon is coming to South Carolina at the Clinton House. I need to get with you to see if you're willing to come. We're trying to come in on Thursday doing some teaching and stuff like that. And then Friday and Saturday it is open to the public, I believe. $50 a pop, I believe, is what he said. And you get to shoot all kinds of cool stuff that's suppressed.
Yeah.
So
when is that? Do we know?
November 6, 7, and 8. I
Oh
believe.
yeah, I might pull the rolling coffin up there just to go to town on that.
Supposedly they got a suppressed 50 cal, which was really cool to shoot.
Yep.
So,
all right, you know what time of the week it is? It's time for prep of the week. Let's see what happens here. What did I do? First of all, Russ, I know you were riding up, so we're going to give you the week off on your preps. But what I had done this week is Mama Tooch went ahead and did a whole bunch of pressure canning. What you got there are some strawberries, actually from Mountain Readiness, and then she made some pressure can, some chicken soup, and some beef stew. But that's not all we did, Russ. That is not all we did.
well, the only reason she did that was so you'd have something to eat while she travels.
Exactly. She just didn't want me going eating pizza all the time when she wasn't here.
Go to Paul's.
We did have this monstrosity delivered to one of our spots down in Florida for for some of the preps that we were overflow preps, right? At an undisclosed location, of course. So we had that delivered. Let me see here. And that thing was huge. And hopefully we'll have that filled by the time I get done. So that was set in place thanks to Jay. Put that where it needed to go. And of course, he might be living in that after it was delivered and his wife saw it. But it is what it is. Take one for the team, little buddy. That's
There
the
you
way
go.
it works. Mama, what's his? Yeah, she keeps going. She's a canning machine. Susie says she canned some pickles that she grew. Nice. Let's see what else. Griff says the strawberries were good. What else? So let's hear your preps. Now, I did see that.
Well, yes, I guess Griff could be considered prepping other than just talking about strawberries. Congrats, Griff, on finally getting up the nerve to ask Tracy to marry you. So congratulations.
Yeah, I'm glad she was drunk and said yes, because that'd probably be the only way she possibly would have said yes. But what else? Yeah, Jay says his wife is not happy with him. It's going to Lori and Bob it. Now I saw that EA number 1 did some sourdough bread. What was that EA number 1? Sourdough bread with potato flakes or something like that.
Like something that was way up there.
Yep.
Should I just say that again?
No.
Then
Yeah.
he continued on his keto diet.
Good. He's lost a lot of weight too. It's that keto diet's working out good for him.
It works.
And he ended up he put me on to this low carb bread substitute stuff, which is it fills the gap, I guess. Who is this right here? Patrick 7 said he made a quarter pound of char cloth, collected first aid kits that were being thrown out on a job site and turned it into 2 dozen IFACs. Good job. Let's see what Larry says for his prep of the week. Picked up some camo gear. Anytime stuff. Oh, okay. Good job. Nice.
Start a couple of them.
Let's see here. What else we got here? 75 pounds of rice from Bullshit. Good job. Mylar bags. Excellent.
Mm-hmm. Now, my question for you, Bullshit, and it's not necessarily required. Did you put any diatomaceous earth into your rice?
That's a good question. I don't do that. I know that Donnie Dunn is big on that, but I do not do that.
Both ways. And I was just curious. I've had it with it. I've actually ate the one with the diatomaceous earth. You couldn't tell any different.
Yeah. Looks like you've got a raid happening. So let me tell you what a raid means. A raid means that somebody who was doing a podcast over on Kick decided that they were going to close their podcast down and all of their viewers were going to come over to us. So it looks like our viewer count bumped up to 120 right now, 130.
Oh, wow.
So more than likely, welcome, guys. Look, this might not be your cup of tea, right? This is about preparedness, about stuff like that, but it's what we do every Thursday night. We are right of center. I'm not going to lie to you. But we do a job on trying to stay fair and balanced. But a lot of time being fair and balanced doesn't make a lot of people happy. So I'm sorry, but welcome to the Eden Army podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
Amy Jennings says she learned how to make apple cider vinegar for her prep of the week. Good stuff.
Yeah. My prep of the week was staying focused on the road.
Yeah, exactly.
You never realize. I mean, Teresa and I do a lot of traveling, and normally we travel together. And now we're taking 2 vehicles up here, and it's weird not being able to get slapped in the back of the head when I need it, I guess. So.
Yeah, that's all I do bullshit with the rice is sometimes I'll freeze it first. I'll put O2 absorbers in it, and I'll let it eat.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, Russ, it's almost been an hour. Guys, thanks for coming in. Russ, we're going to let you give your 2 cents for the way out, and then I'll take over.
Well, guys, as always, number one, we've been blessed with safe travels thus far. Keep us in your prayers for one more day until we finally get up there. But remember, guys, you got a birth date and an end date. Let's always concentrate on the dash. Thanks, Pete.
Yep. Good job, Russ. Guys, yeah, just remember, like I said, look, things are going to get, they're going to start escalating. It's going to get hotter, not just because it's summertime. It's because that there are certain people that don't like what's going on in the federal government, and they're of the violent sort. So keep your preparedness up, right? Be safe. And if you can't be safe, thanks for watching the Eden Army podcast. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember, be safe. If you can't be safe, be dangerous.